Another gunman opens fire at the White House Correspondents Dinner. And what's the very first thing Donald Trump does? He starts begging for a brand new ballroom at the White House.
It's actually a larger room, and it's much more secure. It's drone-proof, it's bulletproof glass. We need the ballroom.
And Melania, she doesn't call for protecting our kids from gun violence. She doesn't talk about mental health. She goes straight after Jimmy Kimmel. Yes, you heard that right. A sitting first lady is threatening a late-night comedian over a joke while the country is still in shock from political violence. Our First Lady Melania is here. Look at Melania, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow. Folks, this isn't leadership. This is pure deflection, and it's more pathetic than you can imagine. And let me tell you, this is exactly what I predicted would happen Saturday night. The Republicans were ready to turn this into their big feel sorry for Trump moment, blaming the media, blaming the left, blaming everyone except themselves. I just didn't think it would get this ridiculous this fast. But here we are. Before we get to Melania's full meltdown, let's start with how quickly they tried to blame the Democrats. Take a look at what Donald Trump said last night on 60 Minutes with Norah O'Donnell.
Also at the dinner last night was your secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah.
His sister, Carrie Kennedy, was there. They've both witnessed their father and their uncle be assassinated.
That's right.
Erica Kirk was there. The House Majority Leader, Steve Scalise, was there.
Yeah.
Political violence has touched so many people in that room. Is there something that you as president can do? What can be done to change the trajectory?
Well, you know, you go back 20 years, 40 years, 100 years, 200 years, 500 years. It's always been there. People are assassinated, people are injured, people are hurt, and I'm not sure that it's any more now than there was. I do think that the hate speech of the Democrats, much more so, is very dangerous. I really think it's very dangerous for the country.
Oh, yes, of course. According to Donald Trump, none of this has anything to do with him. It's all the Democrats' fault, all that terrible hate speech from the left. Let's be very clear here, folks. This is the same man who built his entire political career on violent and divisive rhetoric. He started by claiming the president of the United States wasn't even American, that he should be thrown out of office. He encouraged his crowds to get rough with protesters at his rallies. He ended his first term with a violent insurrection on January 6th and began his second term by pardoning nearly every single person involved, basically telling them, if you commit violence for me, I've got your back. And now he wants us to believe he's not responsible for the toxic political climate? Come on. It's not Donald Trump saying a sitting U.S. senator like Mark Kelly should be hung in the street. It's Democrats pushing back against dangerous and illegal ideas coming out of this administration. The idea that the press is now praising Trump for changing his tone is completely outlandish. They loved what happened Saturday night. They absolutely loved it because it gave them the perfect victim narrative they've been waiting for. Sure, people are asking fair questions. Was this staged? Was something off? That's understandable. But what we know for certain is this. They were thrilled. They saw it as a political gift. And that's exactly what makes Melania's meltdown and her threat against Jimmy Kimmel so ridiculous. We're getting to that next. Anonymous posted on Twitter somber scenes from the White House. Just kidding. They are all standing around with a eating grin, smiling and laughing after a quote-unquote successful scop. The account says Pete Hegseth has got a big grin. Carolyn Levitt can barely stop herself from laughing. Melania looks pretty smug, and so does JD. They look pretty happy with what's happening at the White House. Look at those faces, folks. Those are not the faces of people who just survived political violence and are thinking, how do we make sure this never happens again? Not even close. They weren't thinking about the school kids who live in fear every single week. They weren't thinking about the gun violence tearing families apart across this country. No. They were smiling. They were laughing because Trump was up there mocking the press and pushing his precious ballroom. You could almost hear them thinking, perfect, now we've got our excuse. Now we can ram the ballroom through and blame the left. And sure enough, Melania jumped right in. If you want to know what Saturday night was really about, just look at who they're blaming. It wasn't the guns. It wasn't the gun lobby. It wasn't their own toxic rhetoric. Nope. According to them, the real danger to America is one silly little joke Jimmy Kimmel made a few nights earlier. Melania blames husband's sworn TV enemy for White House Correspondents Association shooting. The First Lady has lashed out at Jimmy Kimmel, accusing him of promoting hateful and violent rhetoric after he joked about her having the glow of an expected widow. Melania called him a coward trying to divide the country, writing on Twitter, "His monologue about my family isn't comedy. His words are corrosive and deepen the political sickness within America. People like Kimmel shouldn't have the opportunity to enter our homes each evening to spread hate." She demanded ABC take a stand, saying enough is enough and that the network is protecting him. All right, folks, there it is. According to Melania Trump, after a gunman opens fire at a major Washington dinner, the real villain isn't the shooter, it's not the guns, it's not the toxic rhetoric, it's Jimmy Kimmel and one silly little joke he told days earlier, a very solemn, sad occasion, they say, and yet the person who needs to be held responsible is a late-night talk show host? I'm sorry, I can't even say that with a straight face. These people are something else entirely. Right after Melania called him a coward and demanded he be fired, here's how Jimmy Kimmel fired back on his show.
We used old footage of the Trumps, of Pete Hegseth, J.D. Vance, Kid Rock, Vanilla Ice, all the members of his cabinet, and a call to fire me from our First Lady, Melania Trump, saying I should be fired because of a joke I made, again, 5 nights ago. It was a pretend roast. I said, our First Lady Melania is here. Look at her, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow. By the way, I also should point out, Donald Trump is allowed to say whatever he wants to say, as are you, and as am I, as are all of us, because under the First Amendment, we have, as Americans, a right to free speech. But with that said, I am sorry that you and the president and everyone in that room on Saturday went through that. I really am. Just because no one got killed doesn't mean it wasn't traumatic and scary. And we should come together and be best. We really should. But if you want us to believe that a joke I made 3 days before this dinner had any effect on anything that happened, well, then maybe someone should look into this psychic lady, too.
This speech tonight will be classic Donald J. Trump. It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room.
Oh, man, come on now. Kimmel didn't rage. He didn't cry victim. He didn't threaten anyone. He just smiled, explained it was a harmless roast about the age difference, and even showed more class than the First Lady by saying he was sorry. Everyone got scared, something we're still waiting for Melania and Trump to say. Then he delivered the perfect knockout line. If my one little joke caused all this, maybe we should hire that psychic lady too. Beautiful. So let me get this straight. Jimmy Kimmel is some kind of psychic oracle now. He told a joke on Thursday night, and by Friday, the shooter had already planned everything, checked into the hotel, and got his weapons ready, all because of one widow joke? Give me a break. This is peak absurdity, folks. They want us to believe a comedian's light roast caused an assassination attempt so they can push for their ballroom, investigate everyone's phones, silence more voices, and blame the Democrats for everything. It's deflection on steroids. And that's exactly why Jamie Raskin's response was so perfect and so necessary. Take a listen to this.
And you have, as many of your fellow Democrats, have used some heated rhetoric against the president. And do you think twice about that when something like this happens?
But what rhetoric do you have in mind?
Just talking about some of the fact that he, is terrible for this country and so on and so forth. I understand that that's your democratic right, but overall, Do you
I have
have a
no
responsibility?
personal problem with Donald Trump at all. I mean, I talk about the policies of this administration, the authoritarianism like we saw on display in Minneapolis, where 2 of our citizens were gunned down in the streets simply for exercising their First Amendment rights. Renee Good, Alex Preddy, and others have, died in custody. I'm talking about policies. I don't personalize it, and I certainly have never called the press the enemy of the people. I think the press are the people's best friend, and that's why it's written right there into the First Amendment. We need the press to be a vigilant watchdog against every level of government, federal, state, local, all of it.
It is completely nonsensical, and that's exactly how we should treat it. These people are truly ridiculous. I mean, genuinely ridiculous. The best response they can come up with after another act of political violence is, well, maybe you Democrats should stop saying mean things about Donald Trump. And when they're asked for examples, they go completely blank. It's absurd, it's idiotic, and honestly, that's the only word that fits. But here's what's even worse. This isn't just random stupidity. It's targeted. It's coordinated. The mainstream media falls for it because they're often lazy or scared. But the right-wing media machine, they package this stuff together like pros. They get the message out in lockstep. And just listen to what Elon Musk's ex-girlfriend, a former big MAGA influencer, had to say about how they all came together in their group chats to push the ballroom narrative.
So last week, I told you guys that all of MAGA is paid and they coordinate their messaging in lockstep via group chats. And what do you know? All of these people came to the conclusion that after they saw what happened at the White House Correspondents Dinner, their first thought was all independently, Trump needs his ballroom. The statistical likelihood of this happening in a vacuum, if we are to stipulate that these people are not coordinated, the statistical likelihood of this happening, that they all came to the same conclusion, not probable, okay? I think it's also important to note that one of the main group chats in which they coordinate this messaging is literally called Fight, Fight, Fight after the attempt on Trump's life in Butler. Okay, and this has the official Trump War Room, members of the administration, including James Blair, and all your favorite MAGA influencers. And I would log on and show you more of these messages, but I can't log on to Twitter because they're suing me for $75,000.
This is all targeted, all very strategic. They're not just reacting, they're trying to shape the story, push their agenda, and make you believe their version of events. And we cannot let them get away with it. We have to call this nonsense out every single time we see it. That's exactly what we do on this show. Day after day, we cut through the spin and tell you the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. If you believe America deserves better than this kind of deflection and distraction, then I'd love for you to join us. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and if you stayed with me all the way to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. It really means a lot. Look, we've been through a lot as a country. We've raised families, paid our taxes, and watched this nation go through good times and bad. But the one thing we've never done is stay silent when we see them twisting the truth. Keep speaking up, keep thinking for yourself, and don't let anyone silence your voice. Until next time, folks, stay safe, stay sharp, and I'll see you soon.